Hello, and welcome to my C++ video tutorials. My name is William Blankenship, and I'll be guiding you along this journey. For this tutorial, we're not actually going to do any programming. I'm going to give you an introduction to the tutorials, figure out where you're at, and where you want to go. To begin with, if you are new to programming, C++ is not where you're wanting to start. You are in the wrong place. Where you're going to want to go is to ocw.mit.edu. It's MIT's open courseware. They have a wonderful online lecture, consists of 24 videos. It's the Introduction to Computer Science and Programming. It's from the fall of 2008, and the language they use is Python. What they're going to teach you in here, they're not going to teach you how to program in Python. They're going to teach you how to be a programmer, how to think like a programmer, and how to approach problems like a programmer. Anybody can learn C++ in the C++ programming language. Anybody can learn the Java programming language. It takes a very special person to be able to learn how to utilize those languages in an efficient manner. And I believe MIT's course kind of hits home on that. They teach you how to approach a big problem and break it up into smaller problems that are actually manageable. And it kind of puts the whole concept of computer programming and software engineering into perspective. Now, if you've been programming for a while, and you're familiar with how to program, then you are in a wonderful place right now. C++ would be perfect for you. C++ is a very versatile language and a very powerful language. It gives you a lot of speed and a lot of power. However, the trade-off is it's a very slow language to develop, and there are a lot of pitfalls. Because you have so much power, there's not much protection. You can wreak havoc with your code if you're not careful. Just a forewarning. Now, the textbook we're going to be using is from cplus.com. I know a lot of people don't believe in this textbook. I do, however. There are a couple of typos in there. However, as long as you're following along with my video lecture, we're going to be using the examples and programming them in the lectures. So you can always refer back to these videos if you have any questions about syntax. There's two ways to get to the textbook. One is through C++ documentation in this box here, under C++ language tutorial. And the other way is through documentation in this menu on the left. And it'll be under C++ language tutorial. Both lead to the same exact place. There are two ways of reading the textbook. One is as a PDF file. It's got some nicer formatting. It's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. The other way is in its HTML counterpart, which is the exact same content. It's just in HTML. For simplicity's sake, I'll be using the HTML version. And for our programming platform, I'm going to be using the operating system Ubuntu. I believe Ubuntu is very hospitable to new programmers. It's a Linux distribution, which I believe Linux is key to any programmer, or any programmer's toolset. You should be familiar with Linux. If you're not yet, that's fine. You can always do that at a later point in time. That's why Ubuntu is really good for for beginners, because their user interface is simpler to use than most. If you're currently running Windows, you can use the same code that I'm going to be using here in this tutorial in Windows, and it'll work exactly the same. You do not have to use Linux, but I do recommend it. In order to install Linux on a Windows computer alongside Windows without replacing your current operating system, it'll give you a dual boot feature. You're going to go to download Ubuntu, and under One here, and if you're running Windows, download the Windows installer. You're going to start download, and it's going to run an installer just like you install any application. Like if you're installing a web browser or a PDF reader like Adobe Acrobat or anything like that, you're going to install it exactly the same. And then it's going to ask you to restart your computer. Make sure while running this installer, there are going to be a couple of different operating systems it's going to ask you if you can install or want to install. Make sure you choose Ubuntu. You want to give it about 8 gigs of space, which it'll prompt you for, so you don't have to worry. This install process is pretty straightforward. Not many pitfalls here. Once you get done installing, it's going to ask you to restart. Once you restart, it's going to bring you up to a dual boot feature where you can choose to either boot into your current operating system if you're running Windows, or boot into Ubuntu. Choose Ubuntu. It's going to finish the install process and then bring you to your desktop. Once you're at your desktop, you can get ready to actually start programming with the IDE. You're going to go to Applications in Ubuntu Software Center, which I already have open for simplicity's sake. Once you get to the Software Center, the Software Center composes of a huge repository of programs, all of which are 100% free. You will not have to pay for anything in the Ubuntu Software Center. Almost anything you will need can be found in here. What we're going to search for in the far right box here is going to be Code Light. And there's going to be an icon right here. It says install. Right now mine says remove because I already have it installed, but if you do not have it currently installed, just like this, it'll say install, and you'll click on that for the Code Light, and it's going to download and install all the packages you need to run Code Light. Now once you've got that done, you should be able to open it on the desktop. It'll be in Applications and Programming. Once you have that done, you should be able to open it up. See this? Getting Ubuntu set up and Code Light installed is probably going to take you about 30 to 45 minutes. Well worth the wait in my honest opinion. However, Code Light does have a Windows counterpart. It works exactly the same. You're going to go to codelight.org. My computer stops acting up. You're going to go to codelight.org. Go into Downloads. Go to Getting Ready for WX Widget Development. And there you go, Code Light installer with WX Widgets and MGW. What WX Widgets is a GUI development program. It's one that I personally do not use. However, this bundled package basically gets you set up for future programming. It comes with MGW and WX Widgets, and it's very straightforward and simple to install. So you're going to run that, and it'll basically get you to the same point we are, or where I'm at on Linux right now. Once you're done, you should be able to open up to this. And now that we've gotten you set up, familiarized with what we're going to be doing in this course, let me actually give you a taste of what's to come. What we're going to be doing is starting with basically a Hello World program. We're going to go all the way from variables to arithmetic to actually making objects, all the way down to advanced topics such as polymorphism, pointers, dynamic memory, typecasting, templates, along those lines. This is going to be a long series of video tutorials. It's not going to be something you're going to be able to tackle in 30 days. If there's enough support and enough interest in these videos, I may go on to programming with Qt, the graphical user environment, as well as expanding into the C standard libraries. After that point, if there's still enough interest, we can always get into 3D programming using Ogre. but that's in the distant future. So leave me some comments on this video if you'd be interested in anything along those lines. I'm definitely not going to jump to those points right off the bat. I'm going to stick to the current progression. However, if you want to see those in the future, please let me know. With that being said, after you get all this set up and you're on your desktop, have CodeLight opened up, and your textbook opened up as well, I will see you at the next video tutorial.